Hi everyone, it's Kamau again. Welcome back to my channel. If you have not done so yet, I'm urging you to subscribe. Today what I'm going to be talking about is how to stand your ground with friends and family. This is something that many of us find very hard to do because, we feel obligated, particularly with family. We feel obligated to bend backwards and to just for the sake of peace, for the sake of the cohesiveness of the family, we allow ourselves a lot of times to be abused, to be taken advantage of. I firmly believe that we need to stand our ground with friends, with family, with even very, very close relatives. We have to put our foot down sometimes. No, we don't choose our relatives. For the most part, we are born into the family, and many people feel like, well, we just have to tolerate them because they're family. Whether they're drunkards, whether they're running with the law all the time, they abuse their spouse, they abuse their children, they have no ambition. We just feel like they're family, we have to tolerate them. No, we don't. We actually don't. No, we choose our friends. Having chosen them, you don't have to stick with them. If you find that they're no longer heading in the direction that you're heading, they're no longer pulling their weight and you're trying to pull them along, but they're actually pulling you back, there comes a time when you have to cut. You just have to make that break and you keep stepping. So I'm going to look at some ways, where we can put our foot down, stand our ground, and don't feel guilty about standing your ground. Remember, you are an individual, you have a right to enjoy your life, you have a right to peace of mind, you have a right to enjoy the things that you have worked for. So not because someone is family mean that they must deprive you of that. No, you have a right to stand your ground. Now, people will sometimes talk about family traditions, or we've always done this, so we must always do it. Don't let anyone bind you to a tradition that you feel it does not work for you. It doesn't go with your lifestyle, it doesn't go with your principles, just because it's the family tradition. No, don't let anyone do that to you, right? You might have vendettas, sometimes there are vendettas and family that run in the family for even centuries, decades, and just because this is my enemy, this has been the enemy of the family, then you feel obligated to carry that on. No, you don't. Your friend is not necessarily my friend. Your enemy is not necessarily my enemy just because we're related. And this goes for your political party is not necessarily the one I'm going to follow. Your religion is not necessarily the one that I'm going to follow. Just because I was born into this house. So I have the right to choose for myself how my life is going to go. I'm not going to carry on your vendettas. You're not going to tell me, oh, don't talk to that one because I don't like that one. Or this one, I like this one, so he's good, you go with it. No, I make my own decision. I'm going to test it out for myself. I'm going to see who I like and who I don't like. Right? Likewise, people have this saying, certain things run in the family, when in actuality, it's because of some very toxic patterns that the family has been carrying on. Some toxic lifestyle patterns. Diabetes runs in the family, hypertension runs in the family, obesity runs in the family because the family has not been eating properly for decades or for centuries. And you might be the one now to break that pattern and to say no, diabetes stops here, it's not going to run any further. Obesity stops here, it won't run any further in this family. This is where it breaks. Or, you know, persons might say, well, the family is dysfunctional, it has always been dysfunctional, that's just how we are, let's just accept it. Do not accept dysfunction. If you can take yourself away from dysfunction, please do that. Right? Do not honor any family tradition that's going to put your life at risk or to go against your core beliefs. You must rule your destiny. Stand your ground, rule your destiny. Don't inherit any enemies. Don't inherit anybody's malice. Don't inherit anybody's chaos. Assert for yourself. This is how, because remember, you know, you are ultimately going to start your own little family. And if it means that you have to break from the larger one because they are toxic, then you will have to do so. Now, you have a right to your space. So even within the boundaries of the home, each family member has a right to his or her space, even the children. Now, we can't always have our own rooms. I didn't grow up, when I grew up, I had cousins, siblings, we slept in the same bed. In the one room, there were probably 2 or 3 beds for us siblings and cousins, and we were perfectly happy. We were close, perfectly happy. But it was in the country, you know, the yard had big space. We knew how to find our space otherwise. And as you grow, you will need more and more your privacy. So try and see to it that each person has their space, has that access to a little private spot, if it's even at certain times, you know, where they can be alone with themselves. You don't want to feel like, you know, everybody's just in your face, no matter if it's an extended family. Yes, it's good, the closeness, the support, all of that is good. I grew up in a large family. My grandmother, when she was cooking in the evening, there was this big, you could call it a cauldron, how big it was, right? And she enjoyed cooking to the point where everybody got older and started moving out. It depressed her that she was no longer able to have this big dinner, preparing this big pot of food for everybody and sharing out to everybody. She got such joy from that. So yes, having an extended family is great. Having that company, having cousins and brothers and sisters and aunties and, you know, everybody around is very good. But at the same time, as individuals, we need our space. And those adult children who don't seem to be coming into themselves, getting their independence, you know, we have to watch how they're going, because they will. I've seen some adult children who the umbilical cord really didn't get cut, and they cannot stand on their own because they have just been cushioned too long. Now, there's nothing wrong with your adult children living in your home, continue living in the home, but they must be, at some point, you know, when they start gaining their independence, earning their living, they have to contribute to the household, to the bills, to the food, to whatever. That's perfectly fine. And in our community, that could actually be a solution, you know, to the homelessness and the lack of support that exists. But as long as each adult is carrying their weight and contributing, that is the important thing. You can't have adults living there and grandma and grandpa still providing financially, physically, everything. They are just there sponging, being a parasite, really. So for that, you have to stand your ground. When your adult children come of age, there must be a clear notion of, okay, so you're going to continue living on, you are going to contribute. Now, the family reunions, are they getting tedious? Are they getting just too much for you to bear? If so, you might just have to stop attending. Don't feel obligated to attend these family reunions year after year, and you go there and, you know, some family members just not progressing, they're just not carrying their weight, you know, still drunk, still high, still unemployed, still sloppy, still abusive, still cussing, still, you know, they say you have these people that are just still. Every time you see them, you see 2 years pass, still broke, still drunk, still have no ambition, still going. Another year pass, you see them again, still. Those kind of things, associating with those kind of people will pull you down. Whether they are relatives, friends, they will pull you down. And if you feel like you are being chastised for certain decisions that you have made in your life, you are being chastised when you attend these reunions, it's always a conversation. Why did you do that? Why aren't you doing this? When are you going to do that? Don't subject yourself to that. So you don't have to attend the reunion if you feel like it's going to drain you and you're just going to be facing the same drama over and over again. You might have to make the decision not to attend, right? Stand your ground, don't attend. Now, as it regards your children, you must be very clear with your family members what is expected in how they will treat your children. If you have told your children not to sit on anybody's lap, not to hug anyone, not to kiss anyone on the lips or kiss anyone generally, your family members need to know that this includes them. You need to lay down that rule and let everybody know as it regards your children. If it's off limits, no hugging, no kissing, no lap, no right? No touchy, because some family members are actually abusive and they will see how far they can go with your children right under your nose. Right under your nose. So you have to be vigilant. Don't feel that because, oh, it's uncle or it's grandpa, even dad, even cousin, and the females too, because females do abuse too. It's just that more males do it. But your male children, your female children, be on the alert for the predators that exist within the family. Don't be naive and think that, oh, it's family, I can let them sleep, no. Be very careful and watch those family members, see how they interact, listen to how they talk, listen to what others say about them, and don't be in denial, and don't put your children at risk because of your naivety. Stand your ground as it regards to your children. I remember I'm a vegetarian, and when my daughter was about 2 or 3, I remember I had to go somewhere and I left her with a relative. And this relative knows that I don't eat meat, I don't give meat to my children. She gave my daughter corned beef and I was so upset. Your relatives need to respect your wishes. So if they are keeping your children, whether for an hour, for a day, for the weekend, for summer break, if you say don't feed them this, they're not supposed to feed them that. If you say don't let them watch this, don't let them listen to that, don't let them read this, don't let them be exposed to this person, once you see where they're not going to respect your wishes, don't do it again. Don't leave your children with them, because then you don't know what is liable to happen. They'll just do anything if they don't respect your wishes. Remember, your children's safety is your responsibility. Now, there are some family members who feel like they can come to your home and just crash. whenever things not going right for them, things not happening, they're low, because they're just drifters, and sometimes they're gonna find themselves homeless, jobless, whatever, and they feel your home is a place they can just come and crash. Even if you allow them, because there's nothing wrong with helping your relatives, of course. I'm not saying there's anything wrong. I'm not saying you just have to all out ban them. But if you see where, oh, this is a habit, this is something you're taking for granted, that you can just come, you can just turn up. Some of them don't even give you a warning. They just, no notice, they just appear with their bags, and then they feel like they can stay indefinitely, and they have access to the fridge and access to the shower and access to the beds and access. You need to stand your ground and let them know, okay, you can stay for such and such a time. After that, you're going to have to find somewhere to go, or whatever the situation is. Let it be clear to them what your guidelines are, where you draw the line. If they can't play certain music in your house, you need to let them know. If they can't watch certain things, if they can't cuss, if they can't eat certain things in your house, you need to be clear about that. And if you have a curfew that they need to follow, remember, this is your home. So they might say, oh, you're so uptight, you know, you become so uptight when we're coming up, we did this, we did that. They need to respect the rules of your home. You need to stand your ground on that and see to it that they respect the rules of your home. If they're crashing, as they call it, and let them know the terms of the crash. Let them know the terms of the crash, okay? Now, as it regards your spouse, some family members feel that they have the right to dictate to you who you talk to, who you marry, when you marry, and how your marriage should go. Now, you should be very clear about this to let your relatives know your spouse and yourself will handle your marriage, right? Don't allow the in-laws to come over and dominate and tell you what to do and how you should run your marriage. This is your marriage or your relationship. Make a clear distinction and let them know they are to respect your spouse, because some relatives don't know what that means, right? They have no idea what it means. You need to put your foot down and let them know what are the guidelines as it regards the person that I'm in this intimate relationship with, person I'm building my life with. You need to let them know. Now, as it regards money, money is a thing that many friendships, many family relationships have crashed on the rocks because of money. Because some friends and some relatives feel that they have the right to borrow your money, borrow your money. They will borrow it, but they're really begging it under the pretense of borrowing, right? They're borrowing it indefinitely, permanently. So they will come, lend me so-and-so, give me a smalls, give me something to tide me over till so-and-so, I'll give you back. And then you'll never see it back. A loan is a loan, whether it's a friend or the relative. You might not be charging interest like the bank, although you probably should. But a loan is a loan. I had an argument with a family member of mine who came to me to borrow some money. And I said, okay, I lent the person the money. I don't see that they don't call me, they're not reaching out to me in any way. Let it weeks pass, months pass. So I had to call the person. I said, listen, you didn't come and say, can you give me? Then I would make the decision whether or not I can manage to lose it. You said, I'm borrowing the money, so I'm expecting you to return it. of course the person was upset, right? These kind of things will crash relationships, family relationships, friendships. So if you are lending money, let it be very clear that it is a loan and you expect it back by a certain time. If you're charging interest, you have all right to do so. And if you see where they're not paying you back, you have a right to ask them for it. And if it means the friendship is going to end, or the sistership, or the brothership, or the fathership, the mothership is going to end, all the better. They won't come back again. They won't come back again, right? You are not an ATM. Nobody has a right to abuse that relationship because they might feel that you're in the position to give it to them. They just keep coming and coming and coming. Don't allow anybody to abuse it like that. If you have a business, family members and friends feel like they are entitled to freebies from your business. They are entitled to discounts. No, you have your overhead costs, just like any business. You can't be giving out free stuff and offering discount, slashing prices. They should be the one who are patronizing you and wanting to pay full price, actually giving you that support as an entrepreneur, a small business person. They will be the ones who want free all the time. And they'll just take and take and take, and then they say, oh, your business is not taking off. You're the reason it's not taking off. You are the reason the business is not taking off. Because you're stalling the business. No, if you are serious about growing your business, growing your brand, yeah, sometimes you have to just separate the business from the friend and family. The stranger will be more willing and sometimes more able to patronize you and to help you grow your business. Because there seems to be this thing I've noticed, like the closer you are, is like a built-in thing that you don't support the business of people who you're close to. I don't know why. It's a phenomenon, a very bad one. So when it comes to your business, the more you can associate with strangers, the better it will be for your business. Next, now I've noticed something, particularly as it regards grandparents, grandmas in particular. People feel like they can just take the children and dump them on grandma because, oh, grandma is there. She's not doing anything. She has nowhere to go. She can take care of the children. Listen, grandma has already raised her kids. She doesn't need to be raising another set of kids. And listen to me, grandma, if you see where they're leaving their children with you more than a certain number of hours and too regularly, you need to charge them. Because some of these mothers and fathers feel like they can just bring the children, dump them on grandma, and then they're gone to party, they're gone to club, they're gone to this, they're gone to live their life because they feel grandma don't have any life to live. No, this is time when grandma should be relaxing and enjoying her old age, traveling, doing her hobbies. She should not be raising somebody else's child now. Don't do that to your grandma. Grandma, stand your ground. Tell them how much money per hour you're charging. And if they don't want to pay, too bad. You already raised your kids. Finally, we just need to know that we can outgrow friends, we can outgrow family, you can outgrow your crew. If you're stepping, you keep stepping because you're maturing. We're getting older. You have responsibilities now. You can't just get up and go like how you used to go. You can't stay out all night the way you used to stay out, right? You can't go to the club the way you used to go. Your friends need to know that, and if they are not growing with that, then it might be the time to sever. Listen, things don't have to last forever to be worthwhile. Friendships don't have to last forever. If you outgrow the person, you outgrow the person. That's it. Enjoy the time you had, but you're in a new phase of your life. They might not be at that phase at that time. Maybe you can meet up later on, right? 10 years down the line where perhaps you can meet up again. But don't allow these people who are still in their revelry days and you're more sober now. Don't allow them to pull you back and nagging you. Oh, you're so boring now. You're so, get with it. You know, you used to be fun. You're not fun anymore. Yeah, they need to get with it or get aside, step aside. Now, just because your family or friend, don't take it for granted that, you know, certain thing. For example, I don't eat from everybody, for example. So just because you're a family or a friend don't mean you can offer me food or that I will offer you food. I'm very particular when it comes to food. I don't like to offer people food. I don't like to take food. No, your cuz from way back when might say, oh, come on. When we were growing up, remember we ate from the same cake batter? I remember when I was growing up, there was this lady, we called her Auntie. She used to bake cakes and all us children would go and we'd lay wait her when she finished pouring out the butter, and this big tub would be left with the cake mixture, and everybody would just be there scraping with their dirty hands because we'd be playing and doing all kind of stuff, scraping and eating, and everybody scraping and eating. That's how we grew up. That's why our immune systems are strong. Yeah, but that was back in the day, cause that was back in the day we drank each other's spit, right? We drank from the same cup, from the same bottle, we didn't care. But now we have adult standards. So don't feel you can just take up my drink and sip. I'm not gonna want it. And you can't just dip your hand into my food. I'm not gonna want it. We're not kids anymore, cause okay. So all in all, don't allow your family and friends to take advantage of you or to make you feel obligated and guilty if you don't allow them to abuse you. Stand your ground, let them know where you stand, and you know, in the interest of a good life, peaceful life, you might have to cut them out of your life. And don't feel guilty about doing that. Stand your ground, more power to you, and I'll see you next time. Please remember to subscribe.